Okay, here we go. This is a video showing another part being carved. It was thrown on my Pacifica wheel. It's now on the Lockerbie wheel. It's going to be carved. The piece was leather hard. It was stained, and so I can use my small music wire tools like you see on the screen, the main screen. I can lay out the beginning of the pattern, different areas. You might see some faint little lines on there, and it's fairly touched, and it just highlights a line on the stain, and it breaks it up into a pattern. So I use that as kind of a reference when I'm starting to do the carving, just at least keep them similar, one pattern after another. And sometimes there's 8, sometimes there's 16, depending on how many sections I break it into. In this one, there are 16 for the basic pattern all the way around. There I'm using a different wide end relief tool there. I use it for other things, but it actually works pretty good. I just sharpen the edge up a little bit to make sure it takes a nice clean edge off of it. So I'm just doing the finish of the pattern. I'll use a smaller tool to clean up like I am right here. I'm using a smaller tool, smaller loop tool, just to clean up around those edges a little bit. And then I'm going to use another smaller tool just for even the smaller, like the little radius curve, clean up that edge there. Here I'm just putting that'll be a radius point. That the beginning of that relief cut there, I'll use 2 edges of it for a tangent point for a line coming off that. You can see the sketch line on there. So there'll be a line come off that on both the left and the right. Here I'm just removing some of that area with the larger tool. It's just a rough cut. Again, this piece now is thrown on my Pacifica wheel. I wait till it's leather hard, then I clean up the base of it a little bit, and then when it's leather hard, I go ahead and put the stain on it. I mix the stain myself. It's a black oxide stain. Looks like red oxide when it's on the bowl, but when it's fired, it'll turn sort of a satin black. So here I'm doing a few more steps in the carving. I'm laying out the base pattern for the middle of the bowl pattern here. And you can see it changes over on the right side when it's further along. Here I'm just doing a little touch up on a few of the curves here. They're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. Here I'm just finishing up part of a pattern at the bottom of the bowl or the pot. It's upside down when I'm doing this carving. You can see it's got the footing carved on the base of it there. You can see it at the top. That's when it was on my Griffin grip. I cleaned up that. And here I'm just adding a little bit of a pattern that goes all the way around the piece here. Kind of follows that arc or that swirl that goes around the middle section of the bowl. There you can see it all the way finished all the way around. So anyway, when this piece is finished carving, it's almost done here. When it's finished with the carving, it'll be air dried, and it'll set for a few days or a week, and then it'll be fired in my scut kiln. It'll be taken to a little over cone 5, and that'll change the color of the clay and the stain, give them a nice contrast.